Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Hatha practice. For props for today, a couple hard blocks, soft block, and a bolster will be handy, and then anything else you like to practice with. So you can go ahead and start off in child's pose for today if you'd rather be in a seated meditation or maybe in a shavasana or something like that, then go for it. If you want to straddle your bolster, you can do that for child's pose as well. Come and find any comfortable version of the shape. So if you want to have knees wider or knees together, now start to let the chest, the forehead lower to the floor. You can bring in any props to help you feel a little more comfortable. Maybe something for under the forehead or maybe something between hips and heels. And see what arm expression feels good here. They can be forward, maybe between the knees, maybe by your sides or something else. If you're not quite ready for stillness here, then maybe give yourself a little movement, stretching out anything that you need. And then when you feel ready to, come and find your stillness in the shape. Maybe closing down the eyes. And start to bring your attention to your body, into your breath. From this place of stillness, gently inviting the breath to slow down, to deepen. With each inhale, starting to explore a sense of space in the body. And with each exhale, a sense of grounding and softening. You can stay exactly as you are for as long as you need, working with your breath. Only when you feel ready to, you can reach the arms towards the top of the mat and gently pull yourself up to a tabletop position, and then come all the way down to the belly. Have the bolster nearby. We'll set up for a gentle Sphinx pose, so you can slide the bolster just in front of the chest, hooking the elbows over it. And if this feels too steep for the low back for right now, then you can take the bolster further forward as well. See what feels good for the head, for the neck. You could also bend the elbows, rest the forehead in the palms. Mindful that it's a pain-free expression. If you are feeling any pinching in the low back or anywhere else, you can back out or adjust. And even in this shape, as you breathe, notice that sense of space. Maybe it feels a little different in this shape. That sense of grounding. If you need a little more time here, you're welcome to stay. Otherwise, slowly start to make your way out of the pose. We'll come to lying down on the belly. You can push your bolster out of the way, maybe stacking palms under the forehead, or you can turn the head to one side and slide the left knee up towards the left. And you can pat it if it feels a little sensitive. Take a few deep breaths here. If you have the left knee bent, re-extend it, and then switch over to the right side. Re-extending the right. And walk the hands underneath the shoulders, press the palms down, and press yourself up to a tabletop position. If there's anything that needs a little extra stretch out here, then go for it. And then when you're ready, tuck the toes, lift the knees, and we'll send the hips up and back for downward facing dog. It might feel nice to pedal out the legs a little bit here, maybe rock the shoulders, and take your time to set up the proportions of the shape that feel the best for today. Look for that sense of stability in the body. Hips lifted, downward sloping spine, head nice and heavy. And eventually come and find stillness in your shape. From your downward facing dog, as you feel ready to move, and tone the belly and take a big step forward with the left foot, setting the foot roughly between the hands, and you can lower the right knee to the floor, maybe adding some padding for the right knee. And then it might be helpful to find your hard blocks, one for each hand. And give yourself as much height as you need to make this feel good for the spine. And then let the hips get nice and heavy. Maybe lift the heart space and the gaze a little bit. And then when you feel ready to move again, take a deep inhale here. Maybe lift the chest a little bit higher. As you exhale, send the hips back. Front leg can extend any amount. Maybe the toes lift. Inhale, come forward to your lunge. And exhale, hips back for your half split. And then keep going with your breath, your pace, and a range of motion that feels good for today. Last couple of rounds. The next time you inhale and return to your lunge, pause for a moment, and then step the left leg back, coming to your tabletop. Straight away, you can step the right foot forward between the hands, and then adjust anything you need in your stance. This side might feel a little different, so feel free to play around. Settling into your lunge as you're ready, let the hips be nice and heavy. Find some length in the spine. And pause for a few breaths. And when you feel ready to start to flow, deep inhale here. Exhale, hips back, front leg extends. And then flow your breath, your pace. Last full round. And the next time you inhale, return to your lunge. Pause for a moment. And from here, you can set the hands back to the floor. You can lift the back knee up and then step back to downward facing dog. And pause here for a few deep breaths. You can also come back to child's pose if that's a better place to pause. From your downward facing dog, only when you feel ready to. And take a big inhale, lift the left leg high up behind you. And pause here for the exhale. Inhale, tone the belly. You might lift the leg just a little higher. And with your exhale, step the foot forward between the hands. And lower the back knee down to the floor, but keep the back toes tucked. With an inhale breath, circle the arms up towards the ceiling. And now as you exhale, circle the arms down and back. You might lift the back knee up off the floor. Inhale, lower the knee, raise the arms. And exhale, reverse it, lower the arms, lift the knee. And keep going with your breath, your pace. Three more full rounds. Last one. Inhale, lower the knee, raise the arms. Exhale, fingertips to the floor, step forward to a forward fold. And give the hips a little movement here. You can pedal the knees. You can work from blocks if that feels better for the low back. And when you feel ready, you come and pause in your fold. You can take any expression you want with the arms, any expression with the legs, maybe bending the knees more or separating the feet a little wider. Let the head be nice and heavy. And from your fold, bring the hands somewhere to the legs. Inhale, breath, find a halfway lift and lengthen, and then sigh and fold. Again, like that. Inhale, lift, and let it go. Once more. Inhale, halfway lift, and pause here with the exhale. Maybe bend the knees a little bit. And then inhale, breath, flat back. Circle the arms all the way up towards the ceiling. If you're at all lightheaded, you can pause here with the arms lifted. Whenever you feel ready, you can lower the arms down to your sides. And take a moment to find your balance here. You might find a gaze point to look at to help keep you steady. You can also step closer to a wall. And check in with the soles of the feet. Notice if the weight is more in the heels or the toes. See if you can balance that out. As the feet press down, find a rebound through the spine. Find that length, reaching with the crown of the head. Some softness for the shoulders. We'll set up to balance here. So spreading those right toes out, lowering them down. Bring your weight towards the right foot and lift the left knee to center. And check in here. Hands can be at hips. Hands can hold that left hamstring. Maybe hands to prayer or ceiling. Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, kick the leg forward, extend any amount. Inhale, bend. And extend. 3 more. Last 2. Last 1. Inhale, bend. With your exhale, open the left knee towards the left and connect the left foot to the inside of the right leg. And see where it feels comfortable for tree pose. The toes can also stay on the floor. Notice if the hips have come off center. Imagine that you're pushing the right leg into that left foot and see what that feels like in the body. And find that length as well. If you really want to challenge the balance, you can play with closing down the eyes. And notice sometimes there's a tendency to hold the breath in balance poses. So just notice if that's happening. See if you can keep breathing those smooth, deep breaths. When you feel ready, inhale, breath, lift the left knee to center and lower it down. Maybe that right leg needs a little shake out. From the top of your mat, inhale, breath, circle the arms to the ceiling, and then exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Halfway lift, lengthen. And plant the palms and step to plank pose, top of a push-up. Deep inhale, and lower all the way down. Untuck the toes, cobra pose. As you inhale, lift the heart space, lift the gaze, and then soften down. Inhale, press the tabletop, and with your exhale, come to downward facing dog. Pausing here, or you can come to child's pose and take about 6 or 7 breaths. Only when you feel ready from your downward facing dog, lift the right leg up the next time you inhale, and then pause here with your exhale. Inhale, you might lift it a little higher, and then a big step forward with the right foot, and you can lower the left knee down to the floor, keeping the left toes tucked. And find your balance, and then inhale, breath, raise the arms towards the ceiling. Circle the arms down and back, lift the back knee. Inhale, lower the knee, raise the arms, and reverse exhale. And keep going, your breath, your pace. Last couple full rounds. Lower the knee, raise the arms as you inhale. And exhale, lower the hands, step forward to your forward fold. And again, a little shakeout might feel nice, or any movement. And eventually come and find your stillness in your fold, using any of the props to make the shape feel more accessible. Bringing the hands somewhere on the legs. The next time you inhale, find your halfway lift, lengthen, and then sigh it out. Inhale, lengthen. Let it go. Last one, biggest one. Then flat back, inhale, come all the way up. Circle the arms up towards the ceiling. And again, you might pause here for a few breaths. When you're ready, release the arms down to your sides. Finding your balance here. Notice the soles of the feet. Adjust anything in your stance that you need here. So maybe adding a slight bend to the knees, maybe widening your base. And breathe that length into the spine. That space for the chest, a little softness for the shrug muscles. And then you might lift and spread those left toes out, lowering them down to balance. Grounding down through the left foot, and bring the right knee to center. Hands wherever you need them to be. Deep inhale, and exhale, extend. Inhale, and extend, exhale. 3 more. Last one. Inhale, bend. And exhale, open the right knee out towards the right for tree pose. Connecting the foot to the inside of the left leg. And again, you might imagine pressing the left leg into that right foot. Finding that sense of stability, that sense of strength and grounding. And breathe here. Your next inhale breath, lift the right knee to center, and then release it. Give the left leg a little shake out, the right, anything else that needs it. From your mountain pose as you feel ready, inhale breath, circle up, and hinge forward, forward fold. Lengthen, inhale. And plant the palms, plank pose. Deep breath. And stay with the exhale this time. One more inhale. And lower all the way down. Untuck. And cobra pose as you inhale. And lower down. And press to tabletop. And then hips towards the heels, coming to find your child's pose. Any version of the shape. Only when you feel ready to move again, you can slowly start to walk the hands in towards the knees as you round up to a kneeling shape. And look around for your bolster. And then come up to a high kneel, and you can have the toes tucked under. We'll sit up for camel pose, so the knees roughly underneath the hips for this. If the knees feel sensitive, you can fold the mat in half as well. And then you might take your bolster and place it across the ankles. And take a moment to just set up here, find your sense of balance. You can bring the hands to the hips or to the low back. Maybe hug the elbows together a little bit, puff the chest up. And then tone the belly, find a hug from the pubic bone to the belly button. And then take a deep inhale, start to open the chest up towards the ceiling, any amount. And then you can stay right here, reach one hand and then the other to your bolster. If you're connecting the hands down to something, use that. Pressing the hands down to find a little more room through the front body. And you might lift the gaze up as well, mindful of the neck. Wherever you are, breathe. Chin towards the chest, slowly lifting up the way you came in, and then lower the hips to your bolster. You can stay in the toe stretch here. It might add a nice little stretch for the feet. If it feels too intense, feel free to untuck, and then pause here for a few deep breaths. Notice. If you're happy where you are, you can stay. Otherwise, we'll sit up for one more round of camel. Option for this one, if you want to untuck the feet, the bolster will be just that little bit further away, so it might be a slightly deeper expression. And we can set up the same way, so hands to the hips, hug the elbows together, puff the chest up, a slight tone to the belly. And then with an inhale breath, start to open through the front body, and maybe reach down for the bolster. Again, if you're connecting the hands into something, then use that. Find that length through the whole front of the body, and breathe. Chin towards the chest. Tone the belly as you're ready to come out. Slowly start to lift up. And then lower your hips to your bolster once again. Pause. If this shape isn't comfortable, then any other quiet shape, tall spine. As you find your stillness here, notice the flow of your breath and check in with the body. Perhaps you'll stay in stillness, or if you'd like to explore a gentle side stretch or a gentle twist or something like that, then go for it. If you've chosen to find a stretch that has two sides to it, just make sure that you have even time on both. And then only when you feel ready to move on from here. If you're on a bolster, you can come up off of it and lower the hips down to the floor, extend the legs out in front, and give the feet a little shake, a tap for the knees, anything else that you need. And from here, look around for your props and just bring them close by in case you need any of them. You might choose to sit up off of your soft block here. And we'll start by keeping the left leg extended out in front. You can bring the right foot to the inside of the left leg, and you might choose to support the right knee if it's floating. And take a moment to check in here. If it feels really effortful to hold yourself upright, then maybe adding a little more height for the hips will be handy. And then you don't have to go anywhere. You can stay right here. But if you do want to come to a fold, you might choose to bend the left knee a little bit, maybe flex the foot, see what helps you feel a little more steady here. And deep inhale to lengthen through the spine. And with your exhale, you can start to hinge your way forward, walking the hands along for support. When you find that limit or the place where you start to round, you might pause and take an inhale, lift partway up. With your exhale, soften down. Either choosing stillness, or you might do that a couple more times. Eventually finding stillness in your pain-free expression. And at any point you can back out, or you can add props or change it up to accommodate your body. Slowly start to walk the hands back in, lifting yourself back up. Find your tall spine, pause for a moment. You can reach down for that right knee and then plant the right foot flat to the floor. You can keep it on this side of the left leg or take it across if you like. And we'll set for a twist. So right hand behind, left arm to the ceiling. Deep inhale, lengthen, and then twist towards the right. You can connect the left elbow to the right knee any way you like, maybe adding a little height for that right hand as well. And keep the spine tall, and you might take the gaze over the right shoulder. And then inhale, breath, unravel back to center, and then find your counter twist for a breath or two. And then returning to midline as you're ready. And from here, you can slide up off of your prop. We'll bend the left knee and bring the left shin kind of parallel to the top edge of the mat. And then you can take the right leg around, right shin parallel to the long edge of the mat. And you can add a little height for the left hip if you need to, especially if you find yourself leaning over there. And then for deer pose, check in. You can bring the feet closer to the body if that helps the shape feel more comfortable. And then you're welcome to stay upright here, or you can think about folding in the general direction of that left shin. So it might be a little more towards the knee or towards the foot. You might see what feels the best for today. Maybe a prop for the forehead if the head is hovering uncomfortably. And eventually come and find your pain-free expression. As you feel ready to slowly start to lift yourself back up. If you're on a prop, you can come off of it and help that right leg back around. And then see what feels good here. Maybe windshield wiper the knees side to side or extend and tap. When you're ready, we'll set that up on the second side. So you can come to sit up off of the edge of your soft block. And this time we'll have the right leg extended out in front. And you can bring the left foot to the inside of the right leg, maybe supported by your hard block. And check in with the pelvis here. Make sure it feels heavy equally on both sides. Maybe a slight bend to the right knee, maybe flexing those right toes. And take a deep inhale. And then slowly start to hinge your way forward to your fold. Before you find that limit, inhale breath, lift part way up, lengthen, and then hinge. Maybe a few more times. You can keep that going for as long as you need. Eventually, you might find stillness in the shape. And supported by the breath, by the hands, slowly lift yourself up. And then help that left knee up. Left foot flat to the floor, either side of the right leg. Left hand behind you, right arm reaches high. Deep inhale. And with your exhale, twist towards the left, arm around the knee any way you like. Lengthen here, find that space for the chest, and maybe take the gaze over the left shoulder. Inhale breath, unravel back to center, and take your counter twist over towards the right for a few breaths. And then returning, if you're on your prop, you can hop off of it, bending the right knee, right shin parallel to the short edge, left shin parallel to the long edge. Maybe a prop for that right hip. And see how this side feels. You can adjust your angles however you need. You might stay upright here, or you can think about folding. And it might be a slightly different expression to the first side, so see what feels best for this side. Eventually coming to find your stillness. Slowly start to lift yourself back up. If you have a prop under the right hip, you can remove it and then help that left leg back in front. Releasing with a nice slow windshield wiper of the knees. Before we move on, you might like to have your bolster and your soft block nearby. We'll bring the feet down to the floor. You can scoop the flesh of the bum out of the way. Bringing the hands to the knees or behind them, take a moment to ground down through the sit bones to lengthen the spine. Find a little softness for the shoulders. You can stay right here. You can come to tippy toes, or you can lift the feet up. Maybe you want to release the arms for more challenge still. And then notice your breath here. Notice if there's something that's holding that doesn't have to be. If you'd like a little more time here, you can stay. We'll lower down onto the back, so you might start to extend the legs out, maybe start to round the spine down, and eventually come to lie down. Setting up for Shavasana here. If your body's asking for any last quiet stretch or movement, then go for it. Otherwise, you might take the bolster underneath the knees. Maybe a pillow for the head or something else. And choose any comfortable symmetrical shape. And choose a comfortable spot for the arms. And see if there's any last adjustment that you can make to make this feel just a little better for you. And then when you're ready, find your stillness. Find your rest. Gently start to deepen the breath. And give the fingers and toes a little wiggle. Maybe some movement for the wrists and ankles. You might reach the arms up overhead, find a full body stretch, lengthen, wiggle the hips and shoulders. You can bring the knees into the chest. Maybe pause here, give yourself a gentle hug and rock. If you like, you can reach between the knees to catch hold of the feet, ankles, or shins and find happy baby for a few breaths, either in stillness or you can keep a rock going side to side. If you have happy baby, you can let that go as you're ready and maybe roll down to one side and take a pause for a couple of breaths. And then with the support of the hands, come up to find any comfortable seated position using any of the props that you have around. And settle the hips, lengthen the spine, soften the shoulders. And take these last few moments of your practice to check back in, to notice. Perhaps connecting the hands at the heart and bowing the chin towards the chest. And thank you for sharing your breath and your energy today. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for this week's Hatha practice. And my name is Nicholas. If you have any questions, please reach out and enjoy the rest of your week.